3, 2. All right, we made it and we're laughing, so yay for us. We're at VOICE22. You're the platinum sponsor. The whole entire Voice team is incredibly grateful for Veritone, for you as a leader, for your team. You have more than a dozen people here, this really amazing, fascinating, engaging booth. Not everybody knows who Veritone is, so maybe you could tell me a bit about you and your brother, Chad, the background, how did Veritone become, and where you at today?
Yeah, we've been, thank you for, it's great to be here.
Yes, great to have you.
It's great to see you. It's a packed show. We've been in, my brother and I have been in sort of the internet advertising space, which really where we started our career in the mid-90s, right out of school. And, our primary career has been ad tech, and we like to say is if there was a place to serve an ad, we were really good at it. Yeah. We've had several great successful businesses. We sold a previous ad tech business to Google, and I headed up a lot of their offline advertising efforts. And I think the biggest thing you learned working at Google was scale, right? Just whatever you have been thinking you've been doing in the past, just add 2 orders of magnitude to it, right? And the other thing is everything we've done is the exact same thing we're doing now today with AI. It's all about data, right? Being able to ingest, process, make decisions against or about, and get those decisions and intelligence out the door as quickly as possible, right? Ad tech, that's what it is, right? You have a bunch of ad requests. I have to choose what audio or visual ad I have to serve, and I have to serve it to the right target audience, and I have to do it in a few milliseconds. So when you think of now Veritone as an enterprise AI company, what we specialize in is helping companies who have lots of structured and unstructured data, ingest it, create a data lake, apply AI, machine learning to it, and then help them build intelligent workflows and applications to turn that into value. And that value is a very broad term. It could be trying to help them increase subscription rates. It could try to be optimizing advertising campaigns. It could help programming, choosing the right content to put on SportsCenter at night. So the use cases are all across the map. It's helping create the right framework so they can act upon these new opportunities quickly. So, but again, with our background in advertising, media and entertainment is by far our largest market opportunity today, as so far. We work with hundreds of media and entertainment customers. I mentioned ESPN, where I'll use them as one example. We ingest all of their content, their podcasting and their digital native content. They're actually live radio streams for their 982 stations. We ingest everything in near real time. We index it. And now they use a suite of different applications that allows them to run their business better, and smarter and faster, and hopefully make more revenue. So that's somewhat similar to the different types of businesses. Whether it's Warner Brothers or it's again ESPN or iHeartMedia. That's kind of generally what we've done. Through that, and this will kind of go into the passion for voice, is now that we're sitting on many petabytes of content that's been fully indexed, our clients always come back and saying, what can we do more? Like, what's next? How much, Frank, let's put an analogy, is how can I squeeze more juice out of that onion? Sorry, onion or lemon? Lemon, not an onion. That'd be gross.
Who doesn't like onion juice?
That'd be gross.
Come on.
That'd be gross. Sorry. I've been traveling West Coast. Sorry. So an example is CBS News, who's a big client. Very similar use case. We ingest both their new and historical archive content. And we had an idea and said, hey, what if we're indexing this content to such a great degree of accuracy, and we're also now isolating the voices from the historical content. It seems like we're sitting on a treasure trove of training data. So it's no longer taking the audio video in and acting upon it. The audio and video we're ingesting is actually the training data. If that makes sense. So that's really was kind of the aha moment about a year and a half ago. And so that's where when we set out, initially working with third-party voice AI companies, who are building neural-based voices from scratch, et cetera, et cetera. And we just felt with our kind of expertise in the space at scale that if we could come up with an enterprise class synthetic voice solution, we could turn it into a very interesting new business line for us. So fast forward today, that's Veritone Voice. We actually have branded it as Veritone Voice now. It's becoming such a big thing for us that we're thrilled. We're working with some of, if you saw my presentation earlier, we're working with some of the most iconic voices of all time.
It's amazing.
The Vin Scully's of the world, the Walter Cronkite estate, et cetera. but also we want everybody. It's we've designed this to be completely self-service.
Right.
But we've also designed it to work with the iHearts who want to show up with 200 voices.
That's right.
And they want to do this at scale.
Right.
So, I mean, there's the number of use cases that are exciting when you come to these shows is we may walk in with an understanding of maybe 10 to 15 real salient use cases.
Right.
And just because the ecosystem is kind of, we're putting a stake in the ground saying we're all in on this.
Yes.
And conferences like VOICE22 is the amount of use cases that are presented to us are just incredible.
Yes.
Right? I mean, healthcare related. I just watched a presentation of the Navy, right? Who's
Amazing.
trying to isolate acoustics because they can't hear or speak at all.
Wild.
And so how are you going to use machine learning and be able to isolate voice and then turn that into a command to verbally speak to somebody else with another command in a engine room on a Navy ship? So those are, when we hear those ideas, we're excited. So, and I think we're in a great position as a company that I don't care how crazy your idea is.
Right.
Let's come to us, let's talk, let's see if we can turn that into a scale product.
Right.
Yeah.
I often think Veritone is like a PR machine. Today you made a huge announcement.
Do not please make my marketing head, Scott's head, any bigger, but I appreciate it.
It has room for growth. And when we did a fireside chat at CES, you had a big announcement on product then. You had the massive, 9-figure contract close this year. And so a lot of major milestones just seem to kind of roll out. And it's not like making things seem and appear to be cool. It's like you guys are doing really cool, innovative stuff. So can you just touch on like maybe this year in terms of some big milestones? What happened at CES, maybe the big DoD thing, the thing you announced today. I'd love for you just to kind of hit on some milestones that Veritone's happened in 2022.
Wow. As a public company, my whole life kind of starts and stops every 90 days, right? Each quarter to quarter. So
you're like, I only remember the last couple of months.
I mean,
Ian,
I'm like a teenager, right? Like my purview is only so far ahead.
Right.
But I'd call out two, kind of tied into voice. I think it's relevant is, we just had our year anniversary after acquiring a company called PandaLogic.
Okay.
They're based here now, but they have major presence in Tel Aviv as well.
Yes.
And they're one of the leading AI-based talent acquisition companies.
Okay.
Really making it easier for companies like Amazon, one of our clients, and others to help them hire people at scale.
Yes.
And part of what was so appealing about that company was not just them harvesting huge amounts of data from application tracking systems and the client's internal systems,
right.
But they had a passion for conversational AI and voice.
Right.
They felt that it was a limiting factor of trying to have great talent wait to be interviewed and talk to somebody.
Yes.
So we recently just launched and announced several weeks ago a new product line through our division PandaLogic called Pando Select.
Okay.
Which is, think of it as just more of a self-service end-to-end framework so companies can sort of manage and walk that talent through the entire application process, completely synthetically driven through AI, right?
Okay.
So that's a really exciting one. It's a big industry. The labor market is crazy right now, right? It's either the Great Resignation or everybody's going to, So I think everybody right now, it seems like
it's two extremes.
Yeah, it's two extremes.
Popping.
Right now, as you know, unemployment rate is still very low. I think that's an arbitrary short-term thing, right? What's happening in the economy. So that's one. And then maybe I'll just touch on the one we just announced this morning, which was Stats Perform. So Stats Perform is the largest AI and sports data company in the world. They power, really, if you have a device or you're watching broadcast or you need sports data and you need it fast, you need it highly accurate, you go with Stats Perform. Right. And they're headquartered in London. I mentioned that the founder was Dr. James, the original, the man behind Billy Bean, and Brad Pitt, maybe, to make people more pop sensitive to that. But what that company does is every sporting event you can imagine, and I've learned a lot about European soccer, aka football,
football,
and the number of teams they have there. It's incredible how much data this company is producing every single day.
Wow.
What we've done is, by working together the last several months with Stats, is we've created an enterprise class solution that turns all of that fragmented sports data into naturally spoken prose, right? Play-by-play, pre-game announcements, post-game announcements. And it's just not static, just the voice. We built it that it can be dynamic for sessionary or temporal inputs, such as local weather callouts during the game.
Yes.
dynamic ad insertion. We got to make money on this, right? So we thought about it at that level, and so we just announced that today. Our partners are here at the show from Stats. You'll be able to listen to them tomorrow. Okay. They're going to be talking about that deal. Sean King from Veritone and Steve Zeller from Stats will be leading that panel. And so that's just an example of like the stuff that we're doing, and I'm so excited about it.
I'm excited too. Even I'm not with you. I'm like, I always love whatever I see with Veritone. I'm like, I love this company. Everything you guys do is so fun. Sean gave one of my favorite presentations I've heard on the metaverse. I think part of the reason why I loved it so much is because Sean's brilliant and what you guys are doing, touching the metaverse is exciting, but it's not a metaverse guy pushing a metaverse talk. It was someone kind of outside of like that little Web3 community. But Veritone is playing in that sandbox, right? So can you talk a bit about how does the metaverse play into Veritone's world?
Well, we start with, if you look at the companies that are our clients, who we represent, they today still, in 99.9% of their business is not in the metaverse.
Yes.
So if I say the Masters golf tournament, right? It is one of our iconic brands. They're probably the most, probably most offensive of their brand, which they should be.
Right.
But like everybody, they have aspirations on what's tomorrow look like, right? So so they look at us as stewards. We've been working with them, helping them index their content, helping them monetize their content primarily offline.
Yes.
Right? Or I'll say Web 1 and Web 2.0. But when they look towards Web 3 and the metaverse, we really, frankly, are they're a consultant to them at times. Right. And have to answer simple questions is, why do you think you need to be in quote unquote the metaverse, right? I think the biggest thing I can sort of is what in our learnings through this, we're talking primarily to content IP owners, broadcasters, is they built for the last 100 plus years is building a business that looks at their end consumer as an audience, a listener, a subscriber, versus, if you don't understand when you move to Web3 and metaverse, it's community, right? Forget everything else, whether you want to have an NFT storefront or you want to have avatars running everywhere, or you want to buy land for $10 million in a metaverse. I hope nobody does that right now.
Well, come on, Decentraland has 23 daily active users.
23 active, right.
It's popping, obviously.
It's like Dubai, right, basically, right? Yeah. But that's, so very simply is, it's coming. How it's going to look and act. We think interoperability. Do not bet on one platform.
No, definitely not.
You need to own your IP.
Yes.
You need to own your whether it's your voice, your avatars, your talent. Make sure and demand it's interoperable. Make sure that you own copyright and IP. The world of us putting all of our eggs into a Google basket or a Meta basket, that can never happen. Right. In this next opportunity with blockchain. That's the whole fundamental premise of the opportunity. Yeah. So in effect, we encourage them for exposure, right? Take strategic bets. And by the way, if you were trying to build a platform, you don't necessarily have to, you're dying to get the Masters to come join you, right? So it's not, so the Masters don't think that they have to pull out a checkbook, right? People are going to try to induce these marquee brands to come say, hey, participate in my, Roadblocks world, et cetera. Yeah. Anyway, we're doing a lot of different things. Voice is very extensible, as we just talked about. You can go. So all of our synthetic voices can go from offline to a full programmatic non-player character opportunity in the metaverse. But again, it really I like to say, forget all of the secondary attributes of the metaverse opportunity. Just what are you trying to achieve? Right. What is your community going to look like? And by the way, who's going to manage your community? Because unlike an audience, there's one person that everybody should listen to, like from the IP. His name's Steve Aoki. He actually spoke at the conference. He's he's the son of the founder of Benihana, which is fascinating in itself.
Puts on the best DJ concerts of all time.
He's a world-class DJ.
You want to get caked? It's fantastic.
And he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met.
Super innovative. He's on the cutting edge. It's really impressive what he's been doing.
So, case in point is, it's happening. It's there. Everybody should have, take an independent perspective of what they're trying to achieve and have much more realistic timelines on when, frankly, they really need to be there.
That's good. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
The market's tough right now, right? We're, it seems like every single day it's, it makes, 2000 look like, a kiddie pool right now. It's just falling off a cliff. Right. We've been through this, I think this one's got even, different existential issues. Sure. But, 2002 through 2002 was kind of a bloodletting for tech. Right. This is a new emerging space. right? Voice IP, synthetic contents, conversational AI. You run into these periods, right? And we like to say this is when good companies become great.
Yes.
Right. But also, the startups in this community, they're doing some amazing things.
Right.
And so, we as a slightly larger company, we're trying to figure out, like, we are in this, right? Yeah. We need a healthy, dynamic ecosystem. Right. We need startup communities to be thriving, because frankly, it's going to make us stronger as well.
Right.
Right. So I'm hopeful that next year has the same gravitas as this one. Right. Despite which probably is going to be another challenging year in the economy and the stock market. Yeah.
Final thing, community. I've done like a dozen of these interviews. You're the only interviewee that's gathered a big group around.
I'm just louder than everybody, I think.
Well, congratulations on your voice projection. Community, what's the importance of VOICE22? Because you are a platinum sponsor. Yeah. You've been committed to supporting Pete and MoDev, putting these events on. You continue to have that commitment. Why does this matter? Why should people that watch our Fireside Chat come to VOICE23? What's the importance of gathering all of us together?
Well, first of all, these are the same, you see a lot of the same names. These are the people who are setting the narrative, right? And so I think there's a difference of being the first mover versus setting the narrative, right? If you look at these groups behind us are the majority of the sponsors. They're well-funded. Yep. They will have a say on where the space is going, yes, they will. Right? Because they're and they're putting the money behind it. Yeah. Particularly when you have lawyers and other people who have opinions, right? You need capital behind to really turn those ideas into case laws, etc. Right? So everybody needs to be here, because this is the people actually attending this and the people on these sponsors. We're driving the industry. We're dictating with a pretty heavy hand of influence. That's right. Of where it's going. Thus, if you want to participate, you need to be here.
That's right. Ryan, thank you for sitting down with me. It's always a joy to do this with you. Anybody that's watching, thank you for your attention. My name's Ian Utilli. I'm the CEO at Attention Live. I look forward to bringing you more of these Fireside Chats here at VOICE22 in Washington, D.C. Have a very happy day.